all, I actually went through the deck. So if you see me babbling without direction, then you know what is really happening. So I've gone through that deck less than 10 minutes before this call. But more importantly, today's session is really about, it's called Leadership Lab. Or rather leadership, you see, I don't even get the lab's name correct. Leadership Behavior Lab. Right. So it's about leadership. Okay, it's not starting at a right or good pace. It's a leadership lab brought to you by MN Career. So thank you MN Career, who is actually not in the call today, but they, together with Nan, who is our captain, she has, she's the master of the scheduling, right? And she has brought us together. But more importantly, in the next hour or so, I will probably take about less than half an hour to talk about my stories that relate to the leadership behaviors and how I learned from it. And when I say how I learned from it, I will actually share with you probably more failure than success. And the next half an hour, so I know that Nan also reminded me that it's 1.5 hours. Since I've gone through the deck only 10 minutes before, I don't think I can feel the 1.5 hours. But I think, again, more importantly, the next half an hour after I share, probably a couple of stories, I would also like to hear from you as to, okay, how do you then relate to the leadership behavior, or have you encountered a similar story before? Right. So if you see me looking here, I'm actually referring to the deck. And the things that I'm going to cover are, of course, the leadership behaviors. Also connecting to it, right? As I said, the stories that relate to the leadership behavior, I'm going to share my stories and I'm going to turn it over to you. And of course, at the end of the session, like all workshops or training, I also want to hear if you have take back, or if you have 1 or 2 takeaways that you will apply based on the stories and based on the sharing that we have today. All right, so if you guys are okay, there are some requests, and of course, with trainings and all that, I would like you to focus, right? There's also an instruction here, and I'll read it. Turn off your Outlook and Skype for this session. Be present and open. Participate, and hopefully you can apply. Okay. So first pop quiz before I share my stories. Again, today is about leadership behaviors. Pop quiz. How many leadership behaviors are there? Shamini, Jordan, Kim, and Shalin. Okay, but let me funnel it better. Okay, so we have, obviously we have the new blue box value. We have framework for winning. Right? So from the framework for winning, and you can actually observe that I am referring shamelessly, and I'm trying to look for the slide in the deck. Some awkward pause there, and I think How do you know? Oh my god, yeah, you have a copy of the deck. Jordan, over to you. Just kidding. Correct. Thank you. So, but from framework for winning, right, it's also funneling to how we lead, right? First question, guys. Do we need to be a leader or a people leader to lead? Okay, so I guess I won't. I see everyone shaking their head, but I do not see Kim shaking his head. You have a differing thought? Yeah, correct. I think at the end of the day, we also recognize the fact that you don't have to be a leader, right? You don't have to be a people leader to lead, especially for the four of you, right, who are band 30s, but you actually do not have a direct report that reports to you, right? The two stories, and to give you a little bit of preview, is a story where I will share as a people leader. Another story that I'll share is when I was like you guys, I was an individual contributor as well. To be honest, the way I see, leading or how difficult it is to lead, sometimes I feel for you guys. You know why? Because if you have people that is accountable to you, right? You can guide, you can lead. Sometimes you can even instruct based on the situation. But for people like you, Shamini, Jordan, Kim, and Shalin, right? They don't report to you, right? So who, for lack of a better word, who are you, right, to tell them what to do, right? And thank you. I see nods, right? And I can definitely see you guys are resonating to it. And I'm gonna share that story as well, and how I feel that sometimes being in the middle is even harder. But that's later, right? But back to the leadership model or the leadership behavior. So we have set the agenda, like what Shamini said. Anyone want to continue? Thank you, Kim. So you set the agenda, and in setting the agenda, you have defined what winning looks like, put enterprise thinking first, as well as lead with an external perspective, right? And to Kim's point, the next pillar would be bring others with you. In bringing others with us, we should build the best team. We should seek and provide coaching and feedback and make collaboration essential. Last but not least, in the third pillar of leadership model or leadership behavior, what is that? Exactly. Thank you, Shalin. Do it the right way, right? You communicate frequently, candidly, clearly, right? We make decisions quickly and effectively. Of course, live the blue box values, as well as demonstrate the courage great leadership demands. And this last point, which is demonstrating the courage, is something that I will share as an individual contributor, but in the later story. Okay, so as I said, there are two stories that I want to share, and the first story, if you guys are ready. Sure. First question, not a pop quiz, but just to get your opinion. So you may know, or you may have witnessed my career as a band 25, band 30, and now a band 35. I have done depending on how you define it, but it's probably 4 different roles or 3 different bands. A band 25, and then I became a band 30, band 35 with 2 different roles. One guess, which position, or rather which move do you think was the hardest for me in my career? 30 to 35? Okay, good guess. There's no right or wrong. I'm just gonna tell you how I felt, right? But that's how you felt. Okay. Shalin, 25 to 30. Jordan? Yeah, maybe I told you a little bit too much. Yeah, but I'm not, Jordan, I'm not going to share that story. You know why? Because Kim and Shalin actually reports to me. So I cannot say that the lateral move, the 35 move is difficult, because what it says is that Kim and Shalin is difficult. That's it. But it's a story for another day. Yeah. Kim, what do you think? Agree with one of them. 25 to 30. Okay. So okay, cool. So I may use 10 minutes. So Kim, I will give you permission to multitask for the next 10 minutes. Okay, everyone is laughing, so you know that I'm kidding. Okay, but the next story is it's not a joke. It's a real story, and it's a failure. So I have been a Band 25 for quite a long time. I was a Band 25 for about 7 years. I joined in 2004, and I was, for lack of a better word, stuck, or how I would term it, I wasn't in a hurry and I was enjoying the role, right? So in the 7 years as a Band 25, I was a CCP for 2 years. I've always been in GFNA, specifically fraud and authorizations. 2 years as a CCP taking calls, the next 5 years as a trainer. So last time, right, we don't have learning network, we don't have learning specialists, but we have internal trainers. So I was doing that, right? I was doing escalations, internal training when there's a new hire, right? And I was a Band 25. But in today's environment, that job would probably be maybe a 25 plus or a Band 30 or an individual contributor Band 30. Hence, I wanted to relate the story, which is beyond that a little bit. But I'll go back to the previous story, or rather the next story will be talking about the trainer days. But my most difficult move, right, guys, was I feel was the 25 to 30, and the reason for that is because it was a non-people leader role to a people leader role. Okay. So partly it's also because the nature and how I work. So when I was a Band 25, especially in my trainer days, I felt that I was at the peak of my career. I felt that I was doing great in the sense of I am very well liked, and that's actually my objective. I come to work, I help everyone, no judgment, no difference, no favoritism, nothing. Right? Everyone is equal. I have about, at that time, maybe 60 people in the department, right? And the way I see how I was liked, I mean, there's no measurable, right? You don't measure through pals, or you don't measure to employee survey and say how great is Benny is, right, in assisting you. But how I actually measure it at that time was that, we sit probably quite near to each other. There's like three of my peers, and there's 4 of us in that team, and everyone has like almost like an equal weightage, right, in terms of handling escalations or handling training. But at that time, in that 5 years or 4+ years that I was a trainer, I'm the hotline. Like if all 4 of us are sitting, right, you can actually see that I'm sort of the busiest. And I loved it, right? I loved the fact that I was kept busy. I love the fact that everyone chose me. Like, okay, you know what? Benny is gonna be able to help. Benny is gonna answer me. When I became a Band 30, unfortunately for me, I stayed in the same team. Remember, I was a trainer in the 60 people. Then I moved to a people leader role. Guess what? When I became a people leader or a team leader, I don't have the 60 people reporting to me. Right? I have only 10 people reporting to me. So the way I actually see myself winning is the 10 people. Right? I wanted to make 10 people happy. I want to get the best house survey, or now colleague experience survey. And I did sort of an unimaginable thing. And the one thing was, in a 24/7 environment, I think almost all of you will be able to relate to that. Similar to the CEN environment, in odds is also 24/7. It is extremely challenging to log out all 10, right? To do a team outing. Not only that, I set the objective to do a 3 days 2 nights in Langkawi. Yeah. So what I did was I spoke to Tony Kong, who is my GOCM at the time. I struck a deal with him and said, okay, this is what I wanted to do. How can I make it work? Right? Long story short, how do I make it work? Is by changing the whole department schedule to accommodate to the 10 people that reports to me. that I wanted to bring them along all the way to Langkawi for a 3 days 2 night team outing. Now, I didn't do it not the right way. I actually brought them along as well. I brought the other 50. So again, 10 people reporting to me, another 50, right? So another 50, I spoke to, I think in my group that was affected, about 20 people, right? And I spoke to each and every one of them. I said that, okay, I wanted to bring my team members and I need your help, right? To cover the shift, right? So that's what I did. And guess what? They all agreed. We went to Langkawi, 3 days 2 nights, Facebook post, rah. How do you think the rest of the department felt? Any guess? Why? Can't you be happy for me, Charlene? Right? I was able to bring everyone. Yeah, I didn't force it down their throat. I asked them. Yeah, but I did, right? I defined what winning looks like. I brought others with me, and I did it the right way, right? From paper, right? And Jordan, I wish I was dealing with the other 50 just like you, but I wasn't. Okay, but it's actually no fault to them, right? Like what Charlene is saying, you can see, these 10 people happy, and my first noise came from my peers. Right? Again, I don't work alone, you see. I work with the other 5 team leaders. And I did, as I said, I did the unprecedented, or rather unimaginable at that time, like a pioneer. Whoa, damn rah, man, bring everyone to Langkawi, right? It's never done before. Yeah, a little bit of jealousy, but mostly concern as well as to the motivation of their own team members, right? You see, when you have a band 30 talking to you, right? Shamini, Jordan, when you were a CCP, even Kim, right? You have another team leader, or worse still, Asha or whoever, right? They come to you and say, hey, can you cover this shift? What would you say? Right? It might, yeah, Shamini, it might even be a reluctant yes, right? I didn't bring them with me. I just dragged them with me. Right? So again, long story short, right? I'll go to the climax. I came back, a lot of noise, right? My manager weren't happy. My Jeanette Wu at that time weren't happy, right? Because you have this one team leader talking to GOCM, arranging all that, making the 10 CCPs or the one team happy, but the rest of the team is not happy, right? They have to cover the shift, right? You have Benny shoving down their throat, saying that, okay, you probably need to do this, right? But what I did miss in the story is that, hey, I said the next time you need it, my team members will do it, right? But then again, when will it materialize, right? Are my peers with me? I think that was an important lesson, right? Again, there were noises, people were escalating. I mean, that's not all 60 definitely, right? I just probably need a few, right? And needless to say, that first year was a disaster, right? Only my 10 team members are happy, but that's not how we should be working, right? In my department, right, when we have that leadership behavior, we talk about putting enterprise thinking first. But sometimes it's not. Again, it's not just our department. It's not just our department metrics. It's not just my team's metrics, right? The second year when I was a band 30, I set another mission. I said that, you know what, I'm gonna think like my manager, I'm gonna think like my Jeanette Wu at that time. Will I do this again? The answer is very clear, right? Because you want to make sure that you bring others with you, and again the right way, right? And to my definition, I just dragged everyone along and say that, hey, we're gonna do this and we're gonna be happy, all these 10 team members, right? And it was detrimental to my brand as well. Remember, in the 5 years that I was enjoying myself as an internal trainer, I was very well liked, right? Or at least I feel, okay, maybe that's not realistic, right? Maybe not 100%, but most of them. At least that's how I felt, right? But I turned, right? It's a sudden turn and say, you know what, Benny, the some of the pulse that I got was that, you know, Benny just became a different person, right? It's no longer the person that I liked, right? It's no longer the likable person, you know, that enjoys speaking to 50, helping all the 50, but it's just so selfish, right? That hurt me really bad. And how I recovered is really doing it the right way. The collaboration piece, right? Making sure that not only you bring others with them, right? Making sure that you define how is it going to be, and, you know, communicate clearly, right? So that's my first story as a people leader. So if you guys, Shamini, Jordan, Kim, Sherlyn, in the near future or not too distant future, you want to be a people leader, or you have an aspiration to be a people leader, I hope this story will resonate with you, or rather I hope this story is something that you can learn from my own failure. Yeah. Do you? I won't put my team members on the spot. Kim and Sherlyn. Now I'll put Jordan and Shamini on the spot. Are you surprised with the people leader story? Did that discourage you or encourage you to take the leap to become a people leader?
我就告诉你，就这事儿啊，除非你往我手里塞500块钱，走了喝酒比别人要。
Shamini, I lost you for a bit. I heard people leader nature. Oops. She's loading. Okay. Sure, Shamini. So I hear you saying you're not surprised. Oh, right. Okay, lost you again, Shamini. I don't know whether it's just me. No, it liked you now. I think we just lost a little bit on it. Like you said, Jordan can relate. Sounds like a CN story as well. Yep. Nice. I see. I can. You know, Shamini, I can definitely see my team members really interested. I think they can sort of relate to that story. Anyway, no names mentioned, right? But the next story that I'm gonna share is something that I also think is very important, and it was actually a very meaningful lesson for me. And Shamini, to your point, just like in the middle, right, as a team captain, right? Now, back to my career, I said that in the 5 years I was an SME team captain in CN, right, or TPT in authorizations or fraud at that time. So that was a unique role. I enjoyed it mostly, right, largely. But of course, with every peak or every up, there's always down. right? And I'm gonna share one of the example where I feel was it's an important lesson for me, and it's about again peer management, right? So I gave you a little bit of story preview just now in that story or in my career journey. I had three peers, right, as a trainer or as a team captain, like what you said, Shamini, right? I was in charge of one market, and that one market was US. And then I have three different peers, and the three different peers, they handle JPA. One of them handle EMEA. I have one more peer who is a bit unique. So she doesn't handle. Okay, I use the word she, right? Okay. This person, this person does not do any markets, but she does quality. So at that time we don't have VOCM yet. It's old days, right? We don't have VOCM, so we have internal calls. We don't have GRPA, but we have a quality person that does that, who is also my peer. Now, because there's only that one person, right? She, from a bandwidth perspective, she is not able to do all the call monitoring. That's actually her core job. So when this came in, all the three, which is two of my peers, which does again EMEA and JPA, and including me who does US, also have to monitor calls. I will be blunt. That's one of my least favorite job, right? Because it ties me to the desk, and then I have to put on a headset, and then I have to listen to calls after calls after calls after calls, right? So honestly, with this task, I'm always behind. Like by the final day, I'll be like, oh God, I have to chase this number. I have to listen to 2 calls per CCP, and I find it dreadful. Because of my personal relationship with this lady, who is a quality trainer, she actually cover my A, right? She always covers me. Like, okay, if I miss 1 or 2 calls, or if I miss some of the CCP, she will always cover for me, right? I'm not the only one who is behind. There's another peer who is also behind, right? And there comes a time when, because we are so lagging behind, right? And it's like months after months, this quality trainer actually blew up and said that, you know what, you guys need to pull your weight, right? I mean, this cannot continue, right? It's my job no matter how dreadful it is, it's my job as well, right? But the thing is, because of my personal relationship with her, it wasn't targeted to me. Yeah, it was targeted to that other person, right? So I was sort of caught in the middle, right? Because I'm also guilty. And what I did was I went to my team leader, right? It's I thought it over, right? And I've been thinking, she would gladly, okay, I wouldn't say gladly, but she would continue to do it, right? So it's not a major thing at that time. Well, she blew up, but again, it wasn't me, you see. And I went to the team leader, right? I said that okay, this has happened, and it took me a damn long time, right? Because again, remember my nature, right? I always wanted to be well liked. I don't want any conflict. I will avoid confrontation at all costs. It took a lot from me, and the reason why I did it was twofold. One is that I am one of the catalysts, right? I'm guilty as well. But the second and more important thing is that I was thinking that from a team leader perspective, right? If I think I'm the leader, would I want to know about this, right? Earlier rather than later, right? Actually, to me it's already later, because that person already blew it up, right? And it's not the first instance. So I took the opportunity to say, this has happened. It actually took quite a few sessions with my team leader for me to come forward and say that actually I also contributed, but it wasn't targeted to me, right? The reason why I share this story is that I can definitely relate to how we need to display courage, right? How we need to confront and come forward and say that, okay, something is wrong here, right? And sometimes it has repercussion to us, and actually specifically to me in this story, right? Long story short, right? It's a fairy tale because we are all friends, and I'm really glad that I did it because we can come into an amicable decision to say that actually she can actually do more, and we will continue to do, but with a lesser amount, right? It just takes everyone to come together to talk it over, right? Sometimes you just have to trash it. Why are you not doing it? Just tell me, what is your challenge, right? Are you not happy? Do you not want to do it, right? Is there something wrong, right? I guess at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say here in this story that I can really, really relate is display that courage, right? Come forward, even though you may be at fault. And for me, right, from experience, if you're at fault, it's better for you to come forward sooner than later. Yeah. So that is, how long did I take? Half an hour? Let me do a time check. Great. So as promised, I'm going to turn the table around and hear some thoughts. And I will start with Jordan. I know that you woke up early, so I am going to pick on you just to make sure that you're still attuned. So how do you feel about the two stories that I shared today?